What is your game plan for this game, Kevin?
Cody really broke it down really well for us. They've struggled against the run. DVOA doesn't back that up, but Cody's inside and knows what's going on. They're okay against the run, but if their linebackers can't cover, the Bills are going to anticipate that short passing game again. The Miami Dolphins game plan of running and short passing. Bills are going to take that. If they're going to try to bring people up, then that's maybe where you see it open up. But Amari Cooper is going to definitely open up the game a little bit with Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid. Matt Collins is going to do his blocking thing. I guess, we're not going to see Keon Coleman, which is too bad because I thought he had a winnable matchup in his performance. So that's too bad indoors. Where Josh, can you believe those stats? 7-0 indoors, 7-0 inside a dome. That is, there's some retractable roof stats that they put separately, which is strange. But in a true dome, he's 7-0 and has much better statistics. It's pretty staggering how much better Josh plays when he knows the environment's good. He doesn't have a wet, slippery glove, and things are going right. So, I think that you're going to see the best of Josh Allen in this game, and he's going to take that short passing game. And I asked Cody straight up, I asked him, he heard me, is the linebacking play good enough to stop a pretty solid Bills short passing game right now? I didn't get a confident answer that it could. So, that is my Bills offensive game plan in the defense. I want a Seattle on the defensive side now. I want a Seattle game plan. Sell out to stop Jonathan Taylor. If Joe Flacco is going to stand back there and rip you apart with a hurt Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, where the Bills traditionally play really well against deep threats, that's not an over concern, unless they're selling out against the run and he gets by. But, really that Tyreek Hill versus backup Kyrie Elam style of 30 to 40 yard play is like the maximum play. And that's one of the best receivers on our back, a fourth cornerback. That's about the ceiling of worry that I have. But ultimately you got to sell out, stop the run, get it going, make it look like Kenneth Walker. I heard all the time how Kenneth Walker was going to run down the Bills' throats. They're struggling to run the ball a little bit. They've gone away from it at times. It reminds me of the Seattle game a lot. And you could argue Seattle's better in some places, maybe Indy's better in others. But ultimately, make Joe Flacco beat you. You can't have Jonathan Taylor beat you. That's unacceptable. Run, stop game. Don't do the bend, don't break like you're playing a good quarterback game like a Tua or a Mahomes. You want to do the run, stop game, run the ball, short passes. I do believe that Cody's score prediction is probably right, but that's my keys in how you would craft the W.
Well, branching off of that, I'll start with the defense. Really, for defense and offense, I think it comes down to winning up front, but I'll start with the defense because the Bills barely got any pressure on Tua this past week. And I know that Tua is different, specifically in that Dolphins offense, just because he gets it out so quickly. It's just, you drop back, boom, you find your first target, first read, maybe second read, and then you go with it. So, yeah, the Bills' numbers probably didn't look that good, but either way, you got to be able to generate some type of pressure because this is Joe Flacco. He's almost 40 years old, and this isn't a Mike McDaniel offense. So if you can get pressure on Joe Flacco and just win up front in general, whether it's the passing game or the run game, I think that will bode well. It should be a big boost if they can get Christian Benford back. And then with the rest of the pieces as well. Do you think that Jordan Phillips or Quentin Jefferson will play on Sunday, or is it a little bit too early?
Not much, maybe under 10 snaps.
I think one of them will at least get a jersey, right? Because they got
One of them will get a jersey. One of them get a jersey. Yep. I can't say who. I would have no idea. I would think Jefferson, but you could give it to Phillips, knowing that he knows the defense. But at most, single digit snaps though.
Yeah, so regardless of who plays, just generate pressure and win up front. That being said, for the offense, I think you can win up front with the running game because I think Ray Davis is special, man. Like, he is a weapon, and he showed it in the passing game this past Sunday with that 63-yard touchdown reception, which was the longest touchdown reception by a Bills running back since 2012 with C.J. Spiller. So I think that you just need to feed Ray Davis, specifically in a game like this, when you have a Colts team that is second to last. So they rank 31st in run defense, giving up 150 yards per game. Now, you could make a case and say that maybe their secondary is a little bit weak. They're giving up 383 total yards of offense. So that's fourth worst. So either way, the defense by those numbers really hasn't been, playing that well by any means. But I think that you can really exploit them again by winning up front, get James Cook involved, get Ray Davis involved, and then that should open up more things for the passing game. One last thing I'll say, going back to the defense real quick, along the same lines of generating pressure, it's a very young offensive line. So if the Bills can use their experience to their advantage, I think that'll be key as well.
It looks like one of their stud tackles will be back. He's coming back off a concussion. I would expect him to play. I don't see them playing 3 rookies on the offensive line. Very good. They've addressed offensive line pretty exclusively. They've done really well at offensive line for maybe some of the other issues that Cody was mentioning. Their offensive line always seems to have depth and always seems to be decent. This year they got a little bit, but if you get the injury bug between Kelly and Fries, kind of hurts a little bit when those are your 2 starters. But there's definitely some areas where the Bills can exploit on that offensive line and definitely at least get in there and run blitzes and make them throw the ball with Joe Flacco and have a really good package for Josh Downs. And ultimately, Bernard's gonna have his say with Taron Johnson to help take away that middle of the field. So that's going to be great as the Bills push to have Matt Milano back shortly. Real quickly, though, Kevin, we got to get out of here. Hour and 45 minutes. We really appreciate everybody being in here with us. Cody was a great guest. Talked about roster development earlier in the show. To our show sponsors, the Summit Center and Larson Timko Funeral Home. Kevin, give me your final score prediction.
I agree with Cody's assessment, thinking that Indy is just not going to be that good of a team for the rest of the season. I think that there's a lot of turmoil there with the quarterback position, but I also agree with your take, and I think that they could seriously sneak into the back spot of the wild card here, whether it's the 6 or the 7 seed, because I think the season is far from over. And you made the point as well that the Bills always have that stupid game in November that they somehow drop, where it's just like, how did they come out flat against this team? So I will say, I think the Bills are going to win, but I think the Colts are going to shock a lot of us, and they're going to keep it really close. And it could be a game like we saw this past Sunday against Miami. And I think maybe it comes down to a Tyler Bass field goal again, which, by the way, we didn't mention him tonight, but so happy for him. He needed that in the worst way. Hopefully that's a confidence boost moving forward. But I have Buffalo winning 27-24 to improve to 8-2. And then bring on the Kansas City Chiefs.
You do got the 1-score game action. I did have it last week. I did feel like we would get the best of the Dolphins. And Cody's right. They're in a weird situation right now to where it could be a Bills blowout. The offense isn't right. Made some bad moves going away from AR. Fans aren't happy. Offense isn't happy. They're in a weird spot. And there's definitely writing on the wall for that. But also at the same time, there's writing on the wall for let's prove this is the right move. Our season's on the line again. At least this talented roster, in my opinion, a pretty talented roster. Can make a big splash. And this is what I was trying to, go down with Cody, is that a Denver loss in Kansas City and the Bengals playing the Ravens tomorrow, and if the Colts upset the Bills, they're in the playoffs. So that's not crazy stuff to happen. So especially the 7's there for them. And we'll find out this weekend if the team's good enough or if the Bills do get it done as they're supposed to get it done. The line's obnoxiously low for me. It's kind of makes me feel weird. The Bills should be favored by 7-10, but 4 right now is telling me that I think they're going to go all out and get this thing done. I agree with the line. I think it's going to be another 1-score game. The Bills have played some blowouts in past weeks. Then they got on the 1-score game train. And once again, I do agree Josh Allen's going to play well indoors. And they're going to try to figure out. I got 30-23